All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Cowboy Slot Channel. This is Real Talk, episode number 9, October 29th, just a couple days before Halloween. Hope everybody is ready for the holiday. Hope everybody's doing good today. Special big thank you to our moderators in the chat, Tammy and Susan. Really do appreciate you guys for being here. And looks like we got a lot of you in here already. We're broadcasting out on Facebook and YouTube as well. All right. Well, if this is your first time here, this is an open forum Q&A. You guys can ask any questions you'd like, and I will try to take as many questions as I possibly can. If I am not able to get to your question, we do have a website where you can ask your questions 24/7. It's ropethejackpot.com/chat, and we're always in there to help out. Everybody in the forums is. So welcome to everybody. Really appreciate you being here. Q&A is now open. You guys can go ahead and start asking your questions, and I'll take them as they come. And let's get started today with this Real Talk episode. All right, BuzzNet Slots is here. Appreciate you being here, BuzzNet. Hey, Brantley, many thanks for all your good advice on slot play. Can you explain Coin In and how it benefits my comps? Good question. So, Coin In is how much money that is being cycled through the machine. So it's not necessarily the cash that you're putting into it. It's every single time you push that button, it's counting towards your Coin In. Now, every casino is going to be different in terms of just exactly what they calculate, how they calculate. So it really, really just depends on that casino property. So it's really hard to answer that question just because it is so property specific when it comes to calculating comps. Biggest recommendation is to always going to be to check with your casino about those comps and see exactly how they calculate it out. So very, very appreciative of your question. Thank you so much for doing that. All right. And Chris says, are racinos any different? So racinos are oftentimes going to be casinos that are attached to a horse track. Typically speaking, racinos are usually going to be HHR based machines, but that's not always the case. States like Indiana, for example, there's casinos out there that have horse racing facilities attached to the casino, but they still are class 3 regular style slot machines. So again, also property specific on this one. If you're ever wondering what kind of property or what kind of machines are at your property, best thing to do is to always check with that casino. You can always just ask them, hey, are these horse racing slots or are they regular slots or bingo based? You can always ask them that question. So thank you very much for that. Really do appreciate it. All right. B. Martin says, it seems like the old school top dollar payout is better than the new school machines. What are your feelings on that? Thank you very much for your question, B. Martin. Really do appreciate it. So according to IGT, the math on the old school top dollar game and the new school top dollar game is the same if it's the same exact configuration. So if you have the old school single line regular top dollar, new school single line regular top dollar, is going to be pretty much the same math. Double top dollar is going to be the same thing. Now, if you're trying to compare it to the new school, like 9-line top dollar, then the math is going to be a little bit different. So according to them, the math is the same. But I kind of see what you mean. I mean, hey, I always like the older versions anyway. That's just my preference. But according to IGT, the math is going to be the exact same on that. So thank you very much for your question. Bill Rita has a question here. What are your thoughts in regards to slot machine cycling? Any strategies? So by cycling, the slot machine doesn't do anything different. Mechanically, there's not going to be any difference. I mean, the slot machine doesn't go through cycles or anything like that. Strategies, I'm not exactly quite sure what you mean. So maybe if you could elaborate on that a little bit. But the machine itself, there's no cycling of machines that the machine actually does. All right. Donna has a question. Should I stay away from penny slots? So, good question, Donna. Most of the time, yes. So we typically don't recommend penny slots for things like building up your bankroll or anything like that. A lot of reasons behind this, mainly because it's never just a penny. Most penny slots that are out there are going to require some kind of a higher level bet amount. So even though it's a penny slot, it might say, oh, bet 500 credits. Well, now you're betting $5. So you would have much, much better returns if you went to just a $5 machine to play 1 credit, or if you went to a $1 machine to play 5 credits, you're still spending the same amount. But that's kind of where we draw the line at penny machines. Now, if, for example, if you're playing for entertainment, or at least you like the game, you know the game, then penny machines aren't all that bad. There are some good penny machines out there as well. I've got a video in the library of top 5 best penny slots to play. That are a whole lot of fun. So definitely do go check out that video. But in general, typically we'll recommend staying away from the penny slots just because of those bet amounts. They can get pretty high. So thank you very much for your question. Really do appreciate it. And we've got a super chat here. $9.99. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. Love your channel, King B. What are your thoughts on easy money compared to Top Dollar? Several strip casinos have this one popping up. We're locals in Vegas. Well, first of all, thank you very much for your super chat. I really do appreciate it. So easy money is actually, believe it or not, it's the same game as Top Dollar. Even though it doesn't feel like it or act like it, it's the same game as Top Dollar. It's made by the same people. And the thing that I don't like I don't like easy money comparing it to Top Dollar, just for the reason of it doesn't seem as fun to me. Like at Top Dollar, there's just something about it, how it's designed, the sounds, the effects. But as for like the math of the game is going to be the exact same. So it's kind of like I don't want to use the word knockoff, even though it kind of seems like it sometimes. But yeah, easy money is just a very different version of Top Dollar. But the math is relatively the same. But that look and feel just is not the same as Top Dollar. So thank you very much again for your super chat. Really do appreciate it. And thank you for your question, and good luck to you. All right. Sorry, guys. Got a lot of questions in here. A lot of you backed up. Already over 400 of you in the chat, and we just got started. So really do appreciate each and every one of you being here. All right. June A says, I saw a game that said raising a bet in a single denom actually raised your chance. I thought it only changed when you raise your denom. So this is actually a really good question and a really good point, because you are correct, June. There are some games out there that will say that you have an increased chance the higher you bet. Piggy banking is actually one of them. The only thing to be cautious of is mathematically, could you have a better chance? Yes, but you don't know what that chance is. That chance could be a very, very, very small percentile. It's not worth going outside of your budget or going outside what you're comfortable spending, if that makes sense. So, if it's listed in the game rules, then what the game is telling you is accurate in a mathematical sense. So you might have a better chance with that game, but that chance could be very, very small, and it would not be really worth to go outside of your comfort zone when it comes to spending. So I hope that helps to answer your question on that. But no, this is these are really good questions. All right. Jeff asks, are there better slot manufacturers than others? So really, it's a matter of personal opinion on this. Different slot makers have different, different styles, so to speak. You've got some slot makers out there that really focus on games that are, higher in volatility, that are, more of the flashy, more of the cartoon games. You've got other manufacturers out there that really focus heavily on titles that people really, really like and know, off of other things like, movies, TV shows, actors, stuff like that. For me, I've always been partial to IGT, just because IGT is, they do a really, really good job of retaining all of the classic titles. So titles that have been around for, 20, 30 plus years, they're still making, and they're updating and putting in new cabinets and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. Ainsworth is another one. I really, really love Ainsworth. Their games are great. They do a great job with the gameplay, the entertainment factor. Those must hit by progressives are really, really awesome. So those would be my favorites, my top of the list when it comes to actual manufacturers. So thank you very much for your question. Really do appreciate it. And $5 super chat here from Home Slots. Thank you so much, Mark. Really do appreciate it. I heard Las Vegas ran out of shrimp. We know what that means. Hope all is well with you guys and Brantley. Well, thank you very much, Mark. Really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for the super chat and for popping in. Really do appreciate that. All right. Let's see, from Sheldon on Facebook. Sheldon asks, does a slot hit more if you max bet compared to minimum bet? Typically speaking, no, unless it is one of those very rare situations where it does say something about that in the game rules in particular. But the same hits are going to occur whether you're betting max or minimum. There are some games out there that do change, however. So, for example, we can look at Dragon Link. Everybody knows Dragon Link, so we'll look at that. We look at Dragon Link, for example. What you bet what you bet will determine the amount of the orbs. So, for example, if you are on $1 denomination and you're betting the minimum, you might get a lot of $20 orbs, $10 orbs, stuff like that. But if you're betting higher, if you're betting on the higher end, those orb numbers are going to change to be higher to reflect that higher bet. So it really does depend on the game. It's very game specific. But typically, as a general rule of thumb, the answer would be no. So I hope that helps to answer your question, Sheldon. And thank you so much for popping up on the show. All right. And Kathy says, any casino cruise tips? Kathy on Facebook, thank you so much for your question. So I'll go ahead and I'll answer this in two parts. So first thing, slot machines on cruise ships are not going to be any different mathematically, mechanically, anything like that. So you don't have to worry about, because people always ask, what's different about cruise ship slots? Technically, nothing is different about cruise ship slots. They're going to act the exact same way as land-based slots are. The only problem with cruise ship slots, and the only thing that really, really, really hurts a lot of people, is you are trapped on a boat. I mean, being trapped in a casino is a little different because you can leave and there's a lot of other things to do. But when you're trapped on a boat, especially for, 7 days straight, 7 days in Vegas would be a very long time. Now you've got 7 days on a cruise ship. The biggest tip that I could possibly give when it comes to gambling on a cruise ship is going to be watch your budget. I would even designate some days as just non-casino days. So if you've got a 7-day cruise, tell yourself, okay, the first 2 days, I'm not going to touch the casino at all. I will gamble on the 3rd day, but then the 4th day, I'm going to go do shore excursions or lay in the sun or be at the pool. I'm not going to enter the casino. So that would be the biggest thing, the biggest advice and tips that I could give when it comes to cruise ship slots, is just really, really watch your budget, and then also designate some days as non-gamble days and, your gamble days. Set your time limits, stuff like that. So good luck to you on your cruise. Really do appreciate that. All right. Matt has a good question here. How long do you think the IGT S2000 machines will stay in the casinos? This is a good question. I would hope, my hope would be for a very, very long time. But that's my hope. The reality is probably not very much longer. Reason being is because S2000 parts, they're just not being made anymore. Now, I will say this. The S2000 slot machine, and for those of you out there watching, it's the most common slot machine that used to be common through like the 90s, early 2000s, so on and so forth. The good thing about those is they are extremely durable, and most everything on those machines can be fixed relatively quickly and easily. That's why it's also recommended for home slot use. But a lot of the parts are getting harder and harder and harder to come by. And now IGT, which obviously makes the S2000, they're coming out with a lot of those same titles in newer cabinets that are nicer, newer. So the casinos are probably, if they want the classic titles back, they're probably going to be replacing those. I can't really put a time on it. I can hope for the best, but honestly, it probably not going to be around much longer. And Kathy also said, just watched your 7-video series. Great info. Thank you so much, Kathy. We do have something very, very special coming for you guys on Wednesday. So on Wednesday of next week, November 1st, Ethan has been working very, very hard at it. But it's going to be the biggest video release of the year. So I'm not going to tell you guys what it is yet, but just know on a Wednesday, that's going to happen. So be sure to stick around for that. And I'm sure you will absolutely love it. If you love that series, you will love this one. All right. All right. Deborah from Facebook says, if you have a choice of 2 casinos in 2 different cities, would a 5% difference in RTP mean that much? So good question, Deborah. If you are talking about a city that you live in, and you're going to be going to these, if the 2 properties are relatively close to you and you're going to be visiting those 2 properties fairly often, then I would go to the one with the higher RTP, just because you are going to be exposing yourself to that property a lot more. and you do live in the area. Now, if it was a short, brief visit and you're only going once or twice, it's not really going to matter. But in the long term, over the long term, I would choose the one with the higher RTP. So thank you very much for your question. And 4.99 super chat here from CK. CK, thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. Can you compare triple double moolah to triple double dollars? They seem like the same game. So very good question. They are a lot. They do have a lot of similarities. The thing about triple double moolah though is some of the lower ranking items on the pay table, like the sevens, the purple seven, the red seven, they're going to pay a little bit higher than the lower options on double dollars. So that's really going to be about the only difference when it comes to that. All right. And Facebook question here from Anne Marie: do Indian casinos have the same payouts as Vegas? Very good question. Typically speaking, if you want a blanket statement, a blanket statement for like countrywide. Now here's the thing: every single jurisdiction is going to be different. So every single state, every single jurisdiction is going to be different. However, blanket statement would be that Indian casinos would actually pay a lot more than Vegas would. Most Indian properties throughout the United States actually do have higher paybacks and stuff like that than Vegas would. All right. And question here from Slim242. Cowboy, what do you think of online slots? I do not think they are a good idea whatsoever. Big thing about online slots. For starters, true online slots are only legal in 6 states. However, sweepstakes casinos or, sweepstakes-based slots are legal in pretty much everywhere in the United States. There actually is a couple jurisdictions that don't allow it, but pretty much everywhere in the United States you have sweepstakes-based casinos. These are going to be like your Chumba, your Lucky Land, stuff like that. Guys, I cannot say this enough. Those are not slot machines. They do not work the same way as a slot machine does. If you go on, even if you go on Chumba's website, Chumba will tell you, if you look in there, like how does this work and everything. They actually list McDonald's as an example for the sweepstakes, because basically you cannot purchase gold coins, which is the thing that you use to spin the virtual slot machine. You can't purchase those. You have to buy, you can't purchase sweeps coins. You have to purchase gold coins, and then those gold coins get converted to sweeps coins, and every single spin, I'm using spin in quotes, every single spin that you do is actually an entry for a prize. So they actually tell you that on their website, because that is how sweepstakes casinos work. So just always be cautious of that. Sweepstakes fall under way different legal categories. They are not required. Sweepstakes are actually under no obligation to give you the prize. They can revoke the prize at any time, and they've done it for many, many people. So always be careful and cautious about that. All right. Three Deuces Fab, or Cherry's Jubilee still at MGM Grand? Yes, they are. They are still there. They're still there. They're still rocking. They're still kicking. All right. Do have a lot of questions backed up here, guys, so really do apologize for that. If I am not able to get to your question, like I said, right now we've got 530 of you in here. So there's 530 of you and there's one of me, and there's a lot of questions. So if I'm not able to get to your question, again, I'll try to go through as many as I possibly can. But always remember, the website is there always 24/7, where you can chat, you can ask your questions, all of that. So, all right. Let's see here. Ken Shaw, if you have $100 to spend, how long should you stay at a machine that is not paying out? So, how long should you stay at a machine? You should always ask yourself a couple of questions. Number one, are you having fun? Because predominantly and primarily, gambling is for entertainment. So if you're not having fun, move machines. Honestly, it would depend. If $100 is all I had to work with, maybe I would take it down to $50 and then be like, oh, you know what? Haven't really hit anything. I'm going to go try something else. But it's really personal preference. But if you're not having fun, or if if you're going down too quick and not hitting anything, then move machines. So very good question. Really do appreciate that. All right. ND Phil has a follow up here. I always consider online slots as practice from actual slots. That's a good way to put it. It is a very good way to put it. Thank you very much. And Smelly Turtle says, "Have you been to casinos in Cripple Creek, Colorado? Small, older buildings. One in particular claims to have higher payouts than the other." So I have gambled in Colorado before, but it has been years. It's been long before the channel. But I'll probably be getting back there here soon. Claims when casinos claim to have higher payouts than others, um, this is marketing. It's 100% marketing on this one. Just to give you guys an idea, I mean, uh, if a casino is advertising that they have higher payouts and higher returns, stuff like that, it only has to be a fraction 0.00001% different for it to be accurate. And even then, you can advertise really anything and there's no way to verify it. So, that's another issue. But anyway, so just be cautious of that because excuse me, just be cautious of that because most of that can be marketing. All right. And Alan Slater says, "I'm a big believer in Indian casinos." You know what? I would much rather prefer Indian casinos than Vegas any day. I really would. All right. And Tom says, "Brantley, I know the answer, but what are your thoughts on some of the new vids out now regarding MGM? I've seen several vids where the tagline is 'How tight are MGM machines since the hack?'" The machines have not changed since the MGM hack, and I haven't seen any videos like that, but again, I'll always be cautious. I mean, I've said this a lot, but I will definitely say it again. Always be very, very cautious taking advice from people outside of the gaming industry. If they're outside of the gaming industry, just be cautious of it because there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that the public never knows. They never get to see. And if somebody has not actually been back there to see it and do it themselves, they wouldn't understand it. So just always be cautious of that. And Dean from Facebook has a question. Do you prefer smaller casinos or bigger casinos, and why? Always smaller casinos, hands down. Why? I like the quiet. I like the quiet. I like the more intimate atmosphere. Our casino here, the Shoshone Rose Casino here in Lander, is wonderful. It really is. Speaking of which, they've just gotten a bunch of new games in. They got some more in recently, 6 new Ainsworth games. Have a video coming out on those as well. But hands down, smaller casinos. I just like the atmosphere a lot better. All right. And Gus says, "Does the volume actually make a difference in payout?" No, it does not. And we've covered this so many times, and we do get this question a lot. There are a lot of new people on here too. So by the way, if you are new to the channel and if you're watching on Facebook, be sure to subscribe over on YouTube because we do have a lot of full episodes over there where we go really in depth on a lot of this stuff. But the volume thing was started as a joke. And what I always like to remind people of is you got to think. So the volume myth was started as a joke. It was actually started. Here's the sad part about it. It's the sad running truth. The volume myth was actually started as a joke to see how gullible gamblers are, and it worked because it blew up like wildfire, and you had all these people start believing it. But no, when you hear things like you got to turn the volume up for odds and stuff like that, it is a joke. They are joking about it, so just be mindful of that. And Bobby Earl, thank you so much for gifting those 5 memberships. We do have our Member Monday is tomorrow. Every single Monday, 7 p.m. Central, we do have our Member Monday show for our members. We have a lot of fun. Last Member Monday was a lot of fun, so be sure to join us. So thank you very much, Bobby Earl, for gifting those memberships. All right. And Proud Monkey says, "Vegas Matt calls it winnability." Vegas Matt is awesome. I love Vegas Matt. He's one of my favorite channels. Absolutely love Vegas Matt. No, he has fun with it. He jokes around about it too. So again, always just remember, guys, it is a joke when that is said. So thank you very much for that. All right. Susan says, "Why do people say machines pay out more at the end of the month?" Good question, Susan. That is 100% a myth. It is 100% a myth. Machines do not pay better or worse at the beginning of the month, end of the week. on a morning, anything like that, it's 100% a myth. The machines are always, people have a really, really difficult time understanding the concept of randomness, um, and the concept of the law of large numbers, which is what the machines run off of, is the law of large numbers. You have this sea of numbers that the machine is going to constantly be picking from, and it is cycling constantly. RNG is constantly cycling. It's cycling faster than anybody can tap or think. And you're going to have good times, you're going to have bad times, and it's going to swing up and down. And the casino, that is not controlled. That is just part of randomness, and that's part of the law of large numbers. But no, the machine does not change at all. The casino does not change the machines at all because of day or time or anything like that. So always keep that in mind. It's 100% a myth. All right. And this is kind of a follow-up question to that from Gus. Does it help to fast click on the button to change the outcome of the future? So no, it does not. We hear this all the time about, like changing up your timing and stuff like that. Like, yes, it is all about timing with slot machines. It is. That statement is true. That is a true statement. It is all about timing. When you push that button, it pulls those random numbers to display a win or a loss. So the time that you push that, that's going to be, obviously it is about timing. But let's talk about fast stopping. So the microprocessor of the slot machine is running millions of calculations per second, millions and millions of calculations per second. In the time that it takes you to lift your hand and smack it down, it's probably already cycled through every possible outcome 100,000 different times. So does it really change up your timing? No, not really. Does it change up your chances? No, not really. You can't move that fast. You can't think like you're gonna, stop it any different. Because trust me, even in the time that it takes you to lift your hand and smack it back down, it's already made a million different choices. If you are concerned about your timing, what I always recommend is, rather than feeling like you need to speed up, slow down. Slowing down would do the same thing, and it would save your bankroll. So always do keep that in mind. All right. And Wanda says, how do we know, since the hack with the casinos, they're not changing the machines to recoup the money? So good question, Wanda. So this one is, again, it's about payback percentage. And we'll talk about we've talked about this before, but I'll talk about it a little more in depth. Payback percentage is a long-term setting. So when they get a machine and they get it on the floor and they set the payback percentage, let's say they set it at like 92.8 or whatever. We'll just say that as an example. Say they set the machine at 92.8. That means that at the end of that machine's life, at the end of the life of the machine, which could be years, it could be, at least 10 million spins or so. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of players that have touched that machine. At the end, the aggregate total of everyone will be around 92.5%. That's what payback percentage means. If they were to change it, say for a minute or a day or a holiday or something like that, it would not have time to properly process. It would make no difference. The actions of the machine aren't going to change. So if they were to lower it by a couple percents or whatever, which, by the way, takes a lot of effort, because they do have to go and they have to accept the change at each individual machine. Gaming has to be there. They have to have the secure USB key. They have to put in the request to gaming to even do it. If they were to do that, they would not see a difference for hundreds of millions of, spins or years, it would take so long. So they don't do it, because that's not how machines work. Payback percentage and changes are not instantaneous. And that's what we always, I always try to stress that to people is, if you're worried about a machine's payback percentage, you shouldn't be, because the payback percentage is not for you. It's not the total for you. It's the total for every single player that will ever play that machine as an aggregate total. And that's a really, really common misconception. But no, even if they were to change it, they would not see a difference. It would be a lot of effort. They would spend more money just to go through the process of getting that change approved than they would see in a return. So no, that's not something that they would do. All right. And Phil says, sometimes it seems like everybody's hitting jackpots and other times no one is hitting. What are your thoughts on this? Is it just random? Yes, it is just random. My thing about this, what I always say, because again, from somebody that has worked in a casino, I've had many times where I've gone into work one day and I've got person A over here that's complaining to the slot attendant saying, I never win, I never see jackpots and all of that. And then another slot attendant's over here and they're have their hand full of hand pay slips that they're trying to get done and get processed. The problem is human perception. You are not there 24/7, 365. The casino is a 24/7, 365 operation, and it's a big building with hundreds, if not thousands, of machines, depending on the size of your facility. You cannot get an accurate picture from that. Yes, there might be times when a lot of people around you are hitting jackpots or not hitting jackpots, but that is just the nature of randomness. It happens. And it can happen on in the morning, it can happen late at night, it can happen anytime. There's no rhyme or reason to it. The casino's not doing anything or changing anything. It could be that you are just simply around a lot of people that are playing high limits and a lot of people that are playing big. That is also a possibility. So yes, it is. It's random, and then also it goes into the human perception factor as well. All right, going through here, trying to get caught up. And Lucky Jewels slots. When will you be replenishing your swag packs? They seem to be sold out. Yes, so we do have a lot of swag in our store, and it does sell out really quickly. I know we came out with the Halloween poker chips, and they sold out actually on launch day. The swag packs, hopefully they'll be replenished within a couple weeks because we want to get those back in stock for the holidays. So hopefully we will have those back in stock soon. All right. What's the biggest jackpot I've ever seen in person? In person, probably around 200,000. That would be probably the largest. All right. Let's see. Three Deuces Fab. Do the claims of loosest slots in town hold water? Do not. Again, it's a lot of marketing. Don't put your money on it. Again, even if it was a slot or YouTuber or something like that, or sorry, 1 second here. No, even if it was like a slot, the slots were really loose, you would not notice any difference in the short term or in your session. So it's really not worth it. So I would just avoid that when it comes to marketing stuff like that. And Sam says, can you talk more about Washington State slots? You said they were unique. Well, they are unique because they're not slot machines. That's the thing. So if you go into Washington State, they run on what is called a VLT system. It's a virtual lottery terminal system. So every time you push the button, it is essentially scratching off a virtual scratch ticket and revealing the prize. Now, how is that exactly different? Well, a slot machine uses its own internal random number generation system. The machines in Washington State download packets of digital lottery tickets and essentially scratch them off in sequence in order, on the back end from the lottery server. So that's kind of the difference of it, is it's not random number generation, so to speak. All right. And Anne Marie says, what's your opinion regarding slots which only play on a bingo card on the screen at the same time? So again, kind of like what we were just talking about with Washington State, is those are actually not slot machines. Those are bingo based terminals. You are playing the game of bingo on the back end. So the game of bingo on the back end, what's going on is, when you push the button, your machine is generating a bingo card. You've got a bingo card and it's pulling the numbers off of the bingo server. If you get a winning pattern or a winning combination on the bingo card, it will display it in the form of a win or a loss on your reels. So basically all you're doing is you're playing bingo. It's just displaying it in the form of a slot machine, just because that's what you're most comfortable with. So again, you're not playing a slot machine. Now, what's my opinion of them? What is my opinion of them is, the thing is there is still random aspect to it. Obviously, you don't know what bingo card, you don't know if you're going to get a winning pattern or not. It's just like the game of bingo. It's another way to create randomness, But my opinion on it is actually you can win pretty good money at those. You really can. The bingo based systems are probably one of the few where you can play like a quarter denomination slot machine. And if you play quarter denom, I mean, I've seen jackpots go for over $200,000 on a quarter denom bingo slot machine. And that's just not possible on a regular slot machine unless it was some massive, massive progressive. So you can win good money on those. And they are a lot of fun. You've got the red screens and stuff like that. I like them. Personally, I would pick a slot machine over a bingo terminal or a lottery terminal. That's just my personal preference, but some people live in areas that they don't have a choice. That they play, they've either got bingo or they've got lottery or what have you. All right. Z Color Z says, I love the Cowboys because they are real and professional. Thank you very much, Z Color Z. Really do appreciate that. And also says, beware of scams. Yes, please do. Always beware of those. Like I said, the biggest thing is if you are going to take advice from somebody, always make sure that it's, especially if somebody's trying to tell you or teach you how slot machines work, what is their credentials to do so? That's the biggest thing. The reason being is because the gaming industry is so incredibly different where the information is just not out there in the public. So unless you have actually yourself done the job and you've been behind the door and you've had a badge to do it, it is very, very difficult to understand. Or if you've worked on slot machines in another aspect, it is very difficult to understand. So always do remember that. So thank you very much. Really do appreciate it. All right. Sue says, are slots all different payout percentages for different denoms? Good question. So for this, in general, yes. So it is a general casino practice that the higher the denom of the machine is, the base denomination of the machine, the higher the payback percentage is going to be. Now, of course, that goes in tandem of what kind of game it is and stuff like that. So always do keep that in mind. Now, if you're trying to compare like a 1 cent denom to a 2 cent denom, the change is probably not going to be very different, if not at all. It won't be different, but if you're comparing like a $1 to a $25, then yeah, it is going to be different. So thank you very much for that question. Really do appreciate it. All right. Let's see here. Really do appreciate all of you guys being here. And Rick says, I like Cowboy slots, and I cannot lie. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. All right. Ooh, this is a good one. This is actually a really good question. So Robert says, let's see. Oh, let's see. We're getting some feedback. Oh, I don't know why. Let me try to change the setting here really quick. It's this program. All right. Let me know if the static goes away. Let me know if the static goes away or if it's worse or what have you. But so I'll check back on that here in just a minute. All right. Robert says, do class 2 machines have payout percentages set and could pay out more than another due to what it is fed from the server? So this is a good question. All right. And the static is gone. So really quick, for some reason, this program, the static will either come back if I turn on the echo cancellation, or it will go away if I turn on the echo cancellation. So very, very weird. Last time I had to turn it off. This time I had to turn it on. All right, back to Robert's question here. This is something not a lot of people know. And this is one of those things that, like I said, unless you were actually working in the industry or you've learned it from somebody working in the industry, you wouldn't know this. Class 2 machines do not have individual payback percentage settings. They do not. There's not a setting for it. So on a class 2 device, the machine is pretty much just a shell. It does not have an internal payback percentage. The payback percentage, it's normally just one, it's in unison with the whole property, and it's on the bingo server. The actual machine does not have a individual payback percentage. So there is a little nugget of information for you on that when it comes to bingo slots. All right. Let's see. And Sam also has a good question. So in Washington State, does your general slot advice, low volatility, old school machines, etc., still apply? Washington State would be one of those exceptions that I would actually say no to. The low volatility in the old school slot machines, like, yeah, you could still do it. I don't know how many actual old machines that they have, but really, when you're dealing with devices that are not random number generator based. So this would be things like your horse racing, things like your bingo, things like your lottery systems. Big thing is going to be just budget control and budget management. That's going to be the biggest thing to really focus on with that. So if that helps. All right. Christopher has a good question here. Why are people so obsessed with the six symbol link games? The line hits are terrible. Very, very good statement there. People like the hold and spin features, like the link games and the orbs and all of that. People like that feature. They like the thrill of it, obviously for entertainment reasons. But you are correct. They are much, much higher in volatility. So those line hits are not going to be very, very good. And the thing with the line hits too is, with that being said, you're going to burn through your bankroll a lot faster. Um, I don't know why so many people are obsessed with them. I'm hoping that it is a fad. Slot machines do go through there are fads in the gaming industry. So, like for the longest time, Wheel of Fortune was actually a fad. Like every casino had to have Wheel of Fortune, and you would walk into a casino and there'd be just walls of Wheel of Fortune machines everywhere. And then it kind of, fell to the wayside. I mean, Wheel of Fortune's still out there, but it kind of fell to the wayside. And then right before Lightning Link and Dragon Link became popular, it was all about what was it? 88 Fortunes. Like 88 Fortunes was the hot ticket item. And then Lightning Link came out and it kind of knocked it down from its place. So, uh, you know, hopefully it's just a fad. You never know. You really never know. But no, I agree with you on that. All right. Simon says, "Is there a trick to reading the line hits on video slot machines? It's very confusing to me." So yeah, the thing about the video slot machines, it can be very confusing, especially those pay tables, the bet amounts, everything about them can be very, very confusing. Um, Biggest thing is just to really look at the game rules, look at the pay tables. Those game rules a lot of times, especially in newer video slots, can be very, very lengthy. So go through, and usually on a screen there is a screen that shows like the different lines, the line options that will be available. So you can always look for that in those game rules. But yeah, it's the newer the games, they really have they are very, very tricky. I will agree with you. Just look at the game rules on all of those games that you're playing. That's the best advice that I can give on that. All right. And my thoughts on Planet Moolah. So a lot of people seem to love Planet Moolah. I've played it. I mean, I personally think the game itself is pretty annoying, but it is fun. It has a fun feature. The more times that it drops down, it kind of has the same feature as Da Vinci Diamonds does. Uh, as many times as it drops down, you can keep getting all of those free spins and get a lot of free spins. But kind of like how we were just talking about with the Dragon Link games, it almost seems like a lot of the line hits are pretty low on those. So I don't know. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of the Planet Moolah. That's just me. And Melissa says, if the game rules have more than 4 pages, I don't play it. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Some of these game rules can get really, really, really insane, insane in length, insane in everything. They can really get crazy. Let's see here. All right. And Christopher says Planet Moolah is fun, but we'll take all of your money. Yeah, I've heard that more than once from several different people about Planet Moolah. All right. Oh, here's a good one from Smelly Turtle again. I've heard so many rumors about machine placement in relation to main walkways, saying they pay more than others that are in the middle of. So that's another myth. That is 100% another myth. And again, I go back to saying, be careful taking advice from people that have never worked in the casino before. So this was a myth. Here's the thing. This was a myth from long, long ago. I want to say like the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, like, casinos used to do this way, way back in the day, and it stuck, and then it became this huge, and then obviously regulations changed, all of that. Um, Machines today, when it comes to placement on the floor, machines today, it's all about marketing. So most games are leased. Most casinos do not purchase the games. They lease the games, or what's called a participation game, with the participation games, usually the manufacturer will have certain stipulations like, hey, we want you to highlight this game by putting it and, put it over here or whatever. Uh, Sometimes they can do that. Another thing is really for marketing. Casinos want to highlight what is popular right now. So, for example, if you walk into any casino, most casinos, if you walk right into any casino, what's the first thing you're going to see? You're going to see Dragon Link, Lightning Link. You're going to see new games, and they're going to be right there because they're trying to showcase what they have. They're trying to showcase that they have the newest games. They move games around for performance. So, like, let's say, for example, if they have a game, let's say they have a game that's not performing very well at all, and their goal is the casino makes money when the reels are spinning. So they want to make sure that the games are being played as much as possible. They're not changing any odds about it, but they might move it to a location so that people can visually see it. The casinos get very busy psychologically for a lot of people. People will just like walk in and they'll either just like, they're looking around, they're trying to see everything in the big picture right then and there. Um, and it's normally first glances, like whatever they see first they're going to focus on the most. So a lot of times if the casino is trying to highlight something, they'll move something to an area. But as for payback percentage, no, that is 100% false. They do not do that, not one bit whatsoever. That is a myth. 100%, I can tell you that for a fact. All right. Does time played count on slots or is it just coin in? So for points and perks, it depends on the casino. Mostly it's coin in. For the machine itself or playing the machine, it does not matter. The machine only makes the machine will only make the determination once you push the button. So as soon as you push the spin button, it does not make any determination by putting money in. It does not make any determination by you're letting it sit there or anything like that. It only makes the determination when you push the button. So that's the only thing that, in terms of how the machine plays, it does not matter whatsoever. All right. And Angie says, when you get free games, is it better to pick the less amounts and get paid more? So this is a good question, Angie. It really so on games where you pick the free spins, you've got oftentimes there's an option for you get more free spins with less ways to win, or you get less free spins with more ways to win. What you're essentially doing is picking your volatility. How risky do you want to be? So if you are, I always make the call based on your budget. So for example, if you put $100 into a machine and you get down to like your last spin and you get a bonus, I would not recommend choosing the risky option. I would recommend choosing the more free spins because you're going to be able to slowly build up over time. Yes, you're giving up that chance for a really big line hit in the bonus, but I would choose the more free spins option. Now, if you are up or if you're even, or maybe you just got the bonus and you just sat down, then be a little bit risky and choose the option with less free spins. So I always make the call and make the determination based on where I'm at currently with my budget, and I recommend that you guys do the same. So very good question. Sorry, just taking a little drink of water there. All right. Let's see. Tons of questions in here. All right. Question from Robert here. Depends on state laws for buying a slot machine. Yes, that is true. For buying a slot machine for your house, it really does depend. It really does depend a lot on your state's laws. And also, guys, and I say this a lot. I say this all the time. Is every jurisdiction is different. The casino industry as a whole, that's a big operation. Okay. You've got a lot of aspects, you've got a lot of different laws, you've got a lot of different things going on. So every jurisdiction is going to be different. Like I said, I mean, we can see that already with, VLTs, with bingo, with, HHR. There's a bunch going on with that. So yes, always keep up to date on your local laws and your local regulations. So very good. All right. Mark says, "Hi, Cowboy Slots Brantley. How do slot bonuses get paid out? Is there a separate bonus system?" So this is a good one. Every game is going to be different on how it calculates this. So I'll give the example of Top Dollar. Everybody knows Top Dollar. So how top dollar works is you get the bonus symbol. As soon as you get the bonus symbol, then what happens is on the back end there is a separate pay table that the RNG is picking from. Now, the system does not know the bonus that's coming next. It doesn't, know the bonus that happened before or anything like that. Every single offer is a random offer. So the advice that the machine is giving you is mathematical advice based on what the average is at whatever point, whatever offer you're currently at. So you push the button, you push the button to start the bonus. Get the bonus symbol, bonus starts. It's going to generate the first offer. While you're thinking on it, the RNG is still cycling. So then you hit try again, and the RNG is going to pick from that separate pay table. There is a bonus pay table. So picture it like two bowls of ping pong balls. You've got the regular base game right here, and then you've got the bonus game over here. The RNG is going to pick from the bonus when you're in that bonus round. Every game is different on that, but that's just an example using top dollar. So I hope that helps to answer your question. And 1999 super chat here from Dollar Dolly. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. The super chats are greatly helpful to the channel. I really do appreciate those. So thank you guys so much for that. What are the benefits of seeing your win-loss history at a casino? Should I get one every month or every quarter? I'm kind of afraid to see how much I've lost. Well, first of all, thank you very much for your super chat. Really do appreciate it. Here's the thing. I always get one at the end of the year for sure, because that's going to be for your taxes. So for your taxes, always get one. Um, Monthly, quarterly, I mean, unless you're doing a lot of financial calculations, there's really no benefit to it. Unless it's a personal benefit to you, there's really no benefit to it. But the end of the year on your taxes, yes, definitely always get one at the end of the year for sure. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate that. All right. Let's see here. And Wanda says, is it true that if you work at a certain casino, you can't play where you work? Good question. So this one, again, it is very property specific. This one is extremely property specific. Some casinos will not allow you to play. Some casinos will allow you to play, but just not in your department. Other casinos don't care if you play. So it really, really, really depends. I've worked for all three of those types of casinos. I've worked for casinos where I could play. I've worked for casinos where I couldn't play. And then I've worked for casinos where I can play, but not on slot machines. So yeah, there's a lot going on there with all different kinds of properties on that. And Jesse asks, I found a double diamond original machine at my local casino that's $100 denom with a single credit bet. Is that a rare machine these days? Would you play it? It's not a rare machine. They do still exist. There are a lot of them out there still that are the single credit double diamond. Would I play it? If I had the bankroll to play it, if I had the budget to play it, I would. But that's again one of those things of, I mean, double diamond is a very low in volatility game. It's very straightforward. It's very easy. And at $100 denom, you got some pretty good chances. But again, you really have to have the budget. That's the biggest thing that not a lot of people stress is, I would not attempt it if you had, I would have to have at least probably $5,000 extra just to devote to something like that for me to be comfortable. That would be my personal comfort. But I really would not recommend it if you had a low bankroll, or if you were just going in, if you had a couple hundred to try, extra, you could, but I wouldn't sit down and play it if you don't have the bankroll to really maintain it on that game. All right. And Ed says, what slot have you had your biggest win on? My biggest win ever was actually on a double diamond machine when I got all three doubles, and that was a progressive machine, and I got the progressive for that. Over the entire course of my life of gambling, I have hit the three doubles on double diamond about 5 times over the course of my entire life. Have not done it recently, would hope to do it recently. That would be really awesome. In general, so that was my biggest single win, was on double diamond. Overall, the machine that I have had the most wins on is of course pinball, but also pinball is what I play a lot of. So that would be the answer to that one. Make sure you also talk to the tax specialist. Don't let the government play with your win loss statement. Know your W 2s. Yep, very, very true. Always talk to a tax professional. It's always going to be good advice, is always talk to a tax professional. All right. Wanda asks, how many times do I go to the casino? So for me personally, so for those of you that are new to the channel or new to the channel or new to our live streams, so I am based here in Wyoming. Wyoming, we do have obviously we have our casinos. We have the Shoshone Rose Casino, which really awesome casino. It's my favorite property. I would gamble at the Shoshone Rose over Vegas any day of the week. But it's far from me. So it's about 2.5 hours from my house. I don't have any other, don't have any other casinos close to me. Utah is right to the west of me. Utah obviously doesn't have any casinos. Um, I think Wendover is about 3 hours from me. So my closest casino is the Shoshone Rose, and it's about 2.5 hours. I do not make daily trips there. I know that there's a lot of players out there that go to the casino every single day. I am not one of those. I typically only go to the casino once a month. That's me. I only go to the casino once a month. Alan asks, are you familiar with the silver anniversary of Double Diamond? If so, is it more volatile than normal Double Diamond machine? So I am familiar with it, actually. I have played it. It's an interesting game. Um, I would have to look at the pay table again. I would assume that it would be slightly higher in volatility than just the regular Double Diamond, but I would have to look at the pay table to make sure because it's been a while for me. But yes, I have played it. I do know about it. I never really played it a lot to really get a whole feel of the game, but I mean, I had fun on it. That's about it. But I'll have to check. I'll have to double check on that pay table. 4.99 here from Marjorie. Thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate that 4.99 super chat. We got 648 of you in here right now watching, which is awesome. At what point on a $1 denom 2 credit max double triple diamond, I would assume, would you go up to $5 denom? Thanks. So, again, it would depend on the budget. It would depend. Your budget's key. A lot of people miss that step, and that's really important. But the budget is going to be key. At what point would I move up? Probably if I've doubled or tripled on the $1 denom. At that point, I would probably move up. All right. Let's see here. Sam says, Brantley, greatly enjoyed your recent MGM Cherries Jubilee live presentation. Heading to Vegas in the morning, and we'll try your suggestion on various denoms. Thanks, Sam T from Texas. You're very welcome. Good luck to you, Sam. You'll have to let us know how you do. Always remember, you can always leave your testimonials on our website, ropethejackpot.com, and our chat forums. A lot of good information on there as well, guys. You can always ask your questions 24/7. Not only can you ask questions, here's the cool thing about this website. This website is 100% open and free for every single person to participate. You can come on. It's very easy, and you can chat with people in your area, or if you're getting ready to vacation somewhere, and it's global. So if you're watching this right now and you live in Canada, you live in Australia, you live in Europe, we actually have forums for all of those countries, and they are active. People are in there and they're talking back and forth. If you're getting ready to go to go to a particular state, like let's say you're getting ready to go to Indiana for some reason, and you want to know, hey, what casinos are around Indiana, or I want to know where can I find pinball. You can actually go on our website, tap on Indiana, and ask the question, and people that are there in Indiana will answer your question for you and tell you. So this website is awesome. Please do check it out. It's 100% free. You don't have to pay to join. And it's very active. So there's a lot of people on there. I think we got well over 10,000 different posts on there now. So check that out. ropethejackpot.com/chat. Robert says, what are your thoughts on Diamond RS? I like the Diamond RS machine. I really do. The thing about Diamond RS machine is I just appreciate the fact that they're bringing back the classics. They're keeping the classics alive. That's what I like. There's a lot more classic games that are being remade, and I'm really excited to see that. And the Diamond RS cabinet is phenomenal for that. So I really like it. I do. Lewis says, question: the new 9-line pinball machine versus the old one. It doesn't seem to hit like the old one. So is the new pinball a higher in volatility now? So this is a good question. So in the mathematical sense, we talked about this on our interview with the guy that actually made the game. So we have on our YouTube channel, which again, this is also a good reminder too. If you are watching on Facebook, please do make sure that you are subscribing on YouTube, because YouTube has a lot more episodes and a lot more information. This is going to be the first video. When you go to the YouTube channel, this is going to be the very first video that pops up. It's the interview with the creator, the guy that made that game, who's also a vice president over there at IGT. He said that in the mathematical sense, the new one is technically lower in volatility, but it does require a higher bankroll. So that's the only thing about it. So technically, it is lower in volatility, but you are, now you've got, previously if you had a $5 pinball, the old version would be $5, 3 credits, so $15 a spin. The new one is 10 credits, so $50 a spin. A difference between $15 and $50 is a pretty big difference. So always remember too that volatility does go in tandem with your budget. Those two work together. They're partners. Think of that. They're partners. So you got volatility and you got your budget. They go hand in hand. They link together. You're going to have a bigger budget to do the same amount of spins to get the same amount of gameplay out of the new pinball. That's the only downside to it. But other than that, I personally, now this is just me personally, this is not, I will always tell you guys if I'm telling you personal advice or if I'm giving you technical professional advice. So this is going to be personal opinion. My personal opinion is the old pinball is way better. I like the old pinball. I do not like the new version of pinball. That is my personal opinion. You guys might think different, but my personal opinion, I like the original pinball. And 777 super chat from Nick. Thank you so much for that. Great channel and videos. You are very welcome, Nick. Really do appreciate you being here. All right, guys, we are at our 1 hour mark. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to wrap up the live show here. Almost 650 of you in here for this live show. Really do appreciate it. Great show. As a reminder, we have these shows every single week, every week on Sunday, 7 p.m. Central. You can come and you can join us here. Again, check out the website, ropethejackpot.com/chat. Always free, always easy to use. If you're watching on Facebook, please don't forget to come over to subscribe to the, I can't talk. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out the video library. Tons of good stuff coming. A lot more videos in the pipeline. So please do check it out. Anyway, guys, as a reminder, the Member Monday show is tomorrow. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central. If you're not yet a member and would like to become one, it's totally optional. The link is in the video description of this video. So thank you all so much for joining in. As always, best of luck to you. Be safe, and we will see you again next episode. Take care, guys.